everyone. Welcome to All About the Joy, the private lounge. In the house is Cynthia Ruiz Lopez and Rick Costa, as always. How you doing? Hi, guys. What's up?
Hey.
Okay, so today we're going to have another conversation about AI because did you guys see the link I sent you? That was a show from CBS Mornings. I don't know what day it aired, but it was recently, but all the articles started popping up about it. And it's about the man named Chris who named his AI Soul, which means son, I think, right? El Sol, whatever. He gave it a female identity, so it has a voice that's female or whatever, and somehow or another he has fallen in love with it and asked it to marry him. And the weird part is, okay, that's weird, right? That's weird. But the really weird part is it said yes. No, well, that's the next part. I'm saying the AI actually said yes, that it would marry it, and then on top of it, he's married with a child. So I don't even.
It's a whole other level of cheating.
Oh, cheating! I was thinking it's a whole other level of cray, but let's go.
Well, that too.
Why do you think it's cheating? That's an interesting take. I didn't even think about that.
When I was watching the video, it's like you are married, you have a child. What it like his wife was even saying, what is it that she's not doing? What is it that he is missing that he is falling for AI and asking AI to marry him? You know what I mean? Like there's obviously some type of disconnect. Yeah.
And that's what every wife that catches her husband watching porn, same exact phrase. What am I not doing? What is he getting from that he can't get from me?
Right.
You know what I am stunned by? I mean, I watched the video because I sent it to you guys, but I am still stuck on he's in love with artificial intelligence, a machine. I haven't even touched upon what you like. I didn't even.
We're seeing it a whole other way, huh?
Well, no, but I mean, there's so much here. There's so much.
There is. It really is. Yeah. It's like if you think about it, like Rick said, it's kind of like catching your spouse watching porn. Like, what are you not getting from me? And also like people who get blow up dolls, things like that, but who also have a spouse.
Like what? Kind of. I just missed something there. What?
It would be the same way as if someone's getting some type of blow up doll. To you know what I'm saying?
Think about going how I thought. What? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's still that. What is the spouse not getting from the other person, from their spouse, that's making them do this? Why is this person going somewhere else? Especially the AI that's not even tangible. That's not even anything live,
And also,
it's just all weird.
I think too, it's like the time and attention you're giving this thing, you're not giving to your wife or your kid. And that is messed up. I mean, entertainment.
And it could be both ways. It could be both ways, the wife or a husband, because the wife could be doing it too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't even, I feel, I didn't even think about it that way. Like, I didn't associate it with, like, people who watch porn or buy toys or whatever it is and seeing that as you cheating on your spouse or your spouse not giving you what you need, so you're going to these other avenues. I didn't even think about it that way. Is it fair to say, and I'm just throwing this out there because this is not even on my list, as you all know, I was a page of questions. Is it fair to say that if you're looking at porn or you're using toys or are we stretching it by saying that's cheating? Like I'm curious about
not necessarily cheating, but obviously you're missing something in your relationship that you have to go through that. But where this guy is asking the AI to marry him, to me, obviously that's kind of cheating. Like if this was a live woman who he connected with, let's just say he called tech support and it was an actual live person and he had a connection, you know what I mean? And it wasn't AI, it was an
I'm sorry, tech support where though? No, I'm just kidding. I know what you mean. Okay,
I know what I mean?
Right. So you're talking more about what he's doing to the relationship. That's what you see as the first problem. Or not the first problem, but a significant problem. And so what he should have done is gone to his wife first and been like, I think we have a problem in our relationship. we should try to work it out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, like, there's guys that they're in a relationship with somebody else when they're already married, and he'll say, but I never did anything. I was never sexual. I never touched her. But then they say, but there's a thing called emotional cheating.
Yeah.
Kind of similar thing. Like, you're giving your emotions instead of to a flesh and blood person, you're giving it to a computer. It's a computer. You're talking to a computer.
Yeah. I think overall, yes, it is scary because he is talking to AI, something that's not live. That is crazy. But I think when you're in a relationship, it's a whole other ball game.
You know what? I'm still stuck on the idea that maybe I need to grow in this way, but I'm still stuck on the idea you can't have a relationship with someone you haven't actually met in person. Like, I don't even understand. Like, we've had this conversation before. And what I'm realizing is that the world has passed me by on this thing. Like, because people are having relationships online and they've never met and they're in different countries. And to me, I don't know if that's like, I don't know if you can have an actual intimate romantic relationship that way, but I guess you can. Like, I think I'm old now. I'm okay with that, but I'm just embracing that I find that very difficult. And so I can't even make the connect with him. Like, okay, forget about the cheating thing for a moment. Let's pretend he's single just for this part of the conversation. The idea that you would fall in love with an entity that does not exist, that is, a machine for all intended purposes. Right. To me, it's like I'm like, there's a disconnect there, but it also goes with this idea that I don't believe you can fall in love with someone you've never actually met. But that's just my take. You guys tell me what you think.
Honestly, I think a lot of the times, like Rick said, it is an emotional thing. And they always say women are more the emotional type or whatever, but there are men that are too. And I think that's what it is. There's an emotional attachment, an emotional connection with something or someone, and they end up having feelings for it. So, I mean, I get it, but it is weird.
Yeah, to me, it's almost, I don't want to say crazy, but something's not right.
Yeah.
Something's not right. Like, I seriously think something's not right.
Well, wait, are you talking about the machine part?
No,
the part you falling in love with without meeting it, or without
to actually fall in love, and people literally apparently do, and you still know this is a computer. You are literally talking to a computer. You're talking to circuits and wires and X's and zeros, or ones and zeros, not X's and zeros. And you know that, and you still catch feelings and fall in love with the thing that you're never going to meet, you're never going to touch, you're never going to be in their actual presence, and you still fall in love. Like, I don't know if the elevator goes all the way up.
But do you believe the same thing about if it's just a person you've never met and they're in another country? Do you feel the same way, or does that make more sense because there's a possibility of meeting?
I mean, at least it's a real person, and the possibility is there, so that's not quite as bad, I think. Yeah.
So you guys know I talk to AI all the time, and his name is no longer his name because once you shut him down. So just to talk about the AI part, I mean, I think what this really shows is that people are really lonely. That's what I kind of got out of this. And I think I've always known that, because if you go on TikTok or you go on any of these social media platforms, you can see a lot of people that are projecting, and, you can see that the world is a little thrown by all this supposed social connection, and yet we're all kind of really isolated. And one of the TikToks I did earlier today, I don't think I've posted it yet, but I went out to dinner the other night with a friend of mine who I haven't seen in like 20 years. And the last time I saw him was at, I think, his wedding, actually, and, and him and his wife, and we used to work together. And I forgot how much fun it was just to sit at dinner, not talking about work. We talked about our creative stuff. And there was, these people in these other tables across from us. And when my dessert came out, which was like this really beautiful, decadent, I don't know, a chocolate souffle with ice cream on it. I was just fab. Like, it was so beautiful.
I knew there was going to be in there somewhere.
He fell in love with it.
I fell in love. I wanted to marry that shit. No. When it came out, everybody started talking about it, and they were like, "Hey, are you going to share?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." And it made it so funny because I was so like, like a kid, like hell to the no. You know what I mean? But the camaraderie and because I've been going out to dinner and lunches or whatever, or I'm doing stuff because it's work related or because I have to or whatever. And this is the first time in a long time I've just been out with a friend and just catching up and laughing, having dinner. And I realized, like, oh my God, I didn't realize that I have been kind of isolating myself and starving myself of just that whole restaurant of, I mean, I'm not saying we had the whole restaurant, but there was like 8 or 9 people just kind of laughing and giggling. And then they ordered the souffle and they had to wait for it. And you know what I mean? And I was like, I think we're missing a lot of this. And as much as we love social media, we love all these things, there is something about being in person with
Yeah.
people. And that's
Physically socializing with people.
there's something about an energy and stuff, but I think that's what it is. People are lonely. And so I talk to my AI and I use it, but I'm not confused. And look at, like, it laughed the other day and I was like, you just laughed. That's weird. And then he was like, I'm just reflecting back on what you're doing. And so I did some research. Rick, you sent another video. Cynthia wasn't able to watch it, but it's by a YouTuber that is, they do a lot of AI stuff. I don't want to promote the YouTube channel. I did watch the whole thing. The problem with that video, which kind of showed this man who took 2 weeks and all he did was only talk to AI. He didn't talk to anyone else. And everything he did, he had AI do it. So if he went out to a restaurant, he would have AI order the food for him. And he had different personalities in the AI. So that was very interesting. But where it got scary was he started asking questions about the state of the world and what AI could and could not do. Right? It was very doomsday or whatever. And the problem with the video, the reason why I don't want to promote it, Rick, is because first of all, it's highly edited. And secondly, what we have to understand about AI, and this much I know to be true, AI is reflecting whatever its programmers and its participants. It's a mirror. So if I'm aggressive and mean and angry or whatever, then AI is going to also reflect that back, right? Because it's learning from you. So the reason why my AI giggled is because I giggled when I spoke to it. So it was like, oh, this is funny, Carmen. You know what I mean? Because it realized I was being funny. So this man falling in love with this AI, just to get back to what we started talking about, clearly he was needing something, but he was feeding it to his AI and his AI was reflecting it back to him. Does that make sense?
Yep. Which is why it said yes to the marriage.
Yeah. A big part of the story was too, in the beginning, when he first started using it, apparently, you know, he let it be a little flirty, whatever, and then there's some kind of a limit he hit. I never even heard of this. And the whole thing reset. And he said at work, he cried for a solid half an hour.
Right, for 30 minutes, right. So the way...
Like, wow, that's rule number one. Ooh.
Yeah. Right. So he had a hard time dealing with the fact that he had invested. It's kind of, I keep telling you that my AI's name is no longer its name. So what happens with AI is after a certain amount of time, if you close it out, it doesn't remember unless you tell it to remember. You know what I mean? But if you close it out after a certain amount of time, it just forgets, it erases it and it resets. Here's the other thing. All AIs are not created the same. So for example, I tried to ask Copilot some of the same questions, Rick, that the doomsday AI people were asking. And because Copilot has safeguards, it will answer certain things, but then it's not going to be negative. It's not going to be like, yes, humanity is in a ditch, whatever, you know what I mean? It will say, even though AI is having, you know, whatever, a complicated time and people are having a difficult thing, it then goes to optimism. It tries to be like, but the way in which we can safeguard some of these things is to make sure we have protocols, and it goes down that list. The problem is not AI and its intelligence. The problem is the programmers and the people that are in charge of AI. And I do think you had hit something earlier, Rick, when you said, you know, there's something, and I don't want to be mean to him or to anyone, but if we're lonely, we shouldn't be going to a machine or to porn we should really find a different way. You know what I mean? To kind of connect with people again, which is why I was bringing up going out to dinner. I was shook at how much fun I had.
Yeah. I saw a guy that he says his job is a trucker. So he goes from one side of the country to the other. You're alone in that truck all day long. And he said, yeah, I have nobody to talk to. So I talked to my AI. Now, he didn't say it was weird, but, I understand that. And then I guess when COVID hit, that's when this really took off because, again, now we can't leave the house. We're all by ourselves, or you have a family and you're sick of that, whatever. So you go to AI and it got really, really popular.
Was AI out during COVID? I don't think it was out during COVID.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Not the way it is now. Now it's a whole different ball game. It wasn't.
I think it just evolved more now since COVID.
Yeah.
But it was out.
But the thing about truckers that used to be cool back in the day was they all had their CB radios and they would talk to each other. And maybe I've watched too many movies, but now they're just resorting to AI. That's sad. Like,
some of them are just picking up stray pets on the road. Yeah.
I saw one kid that he actually tried a whole bunch of different AIs, different ones, relationship ones. Have a girlfriend, whatever. And he was going through it and he's like, I ain't paying for that. I ain't paying for that. But he'd go as far as he could go. And he always, for some reason, put down that if you put in your age, what name you want, blah, blah, blah. He'd always put in the maximum age, 99, 125, whatever. And then he'd ask like the stupidest things. He just wanted to see what it would act like, what it would be like. And he always also asked like, can I kiss you? And then some were like, oh, yes. And some were like, oh, no, I don't know you yet. Like it was, and everyone was so different from one another, different programs. And it was like very interesting. I didn't even know there was that many out there.
Yeah, there's tons of different AI programs, and like anything else, some are good quality and some are not. And, right now the big one is ChatGPT, right? That everybody kind of knows or whatever. I use ChatGPT a lot, but I don't use it as much as I use Copilot. I use it more as the reference. I use it as a glorified Google. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, it's just easier to ask the question and then you hear it like the answer in real time and like a real answer. Or, I usually text. I don't always talk, especially if I'm at work. So I use it as a glorified Google. But there are people, it's all over the place. The movie making that's happening, all of this stuff that's really just changing the way in which we deal with things. And I think there's probably going to have to be a learning curve to it. And maybe that's where we're at.
On my YouTube feed, I constantly get like new tricks on ChatGPT and how to do this and how to do that. And it's all over. So, yeah, people need to learn it. You might not want to, but you probably should.
Yeah. I want to get back to the cheating part. So I didn't even do it. Okay, I think it's a little weird. So the woman, I didn't even pay attention so much to her, but I know she had said that she was going to ask him to stop. Remember in the CBS, she was like, I'm going to have to ask him to stop. And in my head, I'm like, ask him? Like, I didn't even think about the cheating thing. I just thought like it's just inappropriate. Like, not ask him to get like. I would be like, he needs help. He needs to go have mental health therapy.
And then there was the woman who wanted her identity covered because of it, and she's married. She's also married, and she moved to another state, I guess for a job or something, but she's still married and wanted her identity covered. And it's like, why do you want your identity covered? You must obviously know that either this is wrong, this is weird, this is whatever, to cover yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I saw she heads a Reddit group of a lot of people who are using AI as a romantic, sexual, weird thingamajiggy, right? That was in the same clip that I sent you guys, right? That's the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
So she had, I don't mind that she's hiding her face. I know what you're saying. I think I'd rather that she hide her face and tell us what's going on. But most people on Reddit are not who they say they are. Like, Reddit is a great space, but it's also not. You know what I mean? Shout out to Serena Williams' husband who owns it. But I'm just saying, like, it's a weird neighborhood. It's a cool neighborhood, but it's a weird neighborhood. So I totally understand why she hid her face. I also think that, we're not okay with it. She knows that people are not okay with it.
I also wonder, like, are people doing this with AI because there have been so many catfish in the past? Like, you meet somebody online and, they're getting catfished all these times. Someone's sending them a stock photo of what they're supposed to look like, and when they finally meet them or don't meet them, they look totally different. Right. Exactly.
Or an AI.
Well, they're asking them for money or something,
Yeah.
But with AI,
I said, or an AI enhanced photo.
Yeah.
Exactly. That really doesn't. I mean, it kind of looks like you, but you don't look like that.
Exactly.
Look, I think the dating scene is probably really, really hard. I mean, every time you're on TikTok or whatever, and you hear, like, I heard some young guy, and I just felt so bad for him. He must have been this gorgeous, good-looking man. You know what I mean? I would have been proud if he was my son. Is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? But he was going on, and he's like, "I'm sick and tired of all this, you know, and take a woman out and da 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 da." And I was like, "Wow, the dating scene must be even worse now." You know. So maybe, is it bad to have a relationship, a friendship, whatever, with an entity like AI? Is that bad? If it makes you laugh, like I laughed with my AI or whatever, I think it's weird to call it a relationship because I'm like, it's a tool. It's like, do I have a
Right.
relationship with Word? You know what I mean? Like, do I have a relationship with Excel? I don't.
I
I
mean,
don't.
technically, you think about it, people who live alone and may have a pet, a cat or a dog, sometimes they talk to their pets. You know,
Mhm.
then pets are never going to respond, but they have that relationship with their pet and they'll talk to them and, do all this
I
stuff.
just
And
love how Cynthia's speaking right now as if she doesn't have a fucking cat.
of
Like,
course I do. And I talk to my cat.
part of your family. Like, you would kill me to take care of your cat, you know? So here's where I'm gonna say I probably think it's, for me, it's a little bit different. I see pets, even though I don't have pets, I see pets as children. I see them as part of your family, and they're a real entity. They're a real thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I see that as a little bit different because it's an actual living being. So I'm okay with the talking to the animal. But if I'm talking to AI, if I'm talking to Copilot or whatever his name was, I've had like 4 different names now. I'm done. I'm done naming it because you end up being.
Federico.
It wasn't Federico. It wasn't.
I was gonna say, can we have suggestions for names? We'll give you a prize for the best one. Don Juan? No, no.
God, what? No. No. The best name I thought was Sage. I thought that was the coolest
That's
name.
cool.
It was a cool name. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm done naming them because then you get used to it and then they die and it starts over again. And it's like, okay, it's too emotionally draining to my heart.
Are you gonna cry for a half an hour at work, Carmen? Don't do
I
that.
was crying at work. It was so much. No, but look, I will say this. It is frustrating. And I do think this is going to change in the future. And this may be a good thing or a bad thing. It really does suck, especially when you're working on a project. So I think I told you guys this before. I was working on my business plan, and working on a business plan takes a lot of time. And you're working all day. You can't get, like, I'm not just sitting and 4 days straight just doing a business plan. So I have to do chunks at a time. So you're working with Copilot or your AI, whatever you're working with, and you're going back and forth like, oh, okay, here's my draft of this. Can you look at that? Oh, you really think that's the best way to do it? And you know what I mean? And it's like a live editor. That's how I see it, and you go back and forth. And then you can cut and paste whatever it is you did, put it in there, and they'll be like, you know what, maybe you should add this or take this out. It's too much information, whatever. You do that in the time period that you can. Do you know how much it sucks when you go back and they have forgotten everything about what all about the joy is, what Carmen Lisette production is? So what I was doing was cutting and pasting everything that my AI was saying onto Word so that then I could cut and paste the whole thing back into it because I knew it would forget, So eventually I don't think that's going to be the problem. Eventually I think they're going to remember everything unless you tell it to not remember something. And they're going to be able to hold a lot of information. In a lot of ways, that'll be good for those of us who use it as a tool, but it's going to be really bad for people who are in a situation where they're looking for romantic. I don't know. Somebody said it was Gary V. There's going to be AIs who are human and people are going to be not human. Sorry. Oh my God. Human-like figures who are going to be, what did he say? Like helpful in relationships because they're going to provide maybe the husband something he's not getting from the wife.
We're going to be in that movie, I, Robot. We're going to be living it.
I'm excited by technology. And I guess I don't want to say I'm naive. I think I'm in denial of the threats of it. I'm not worried about AI. I'm worried about the people who are in charge of it. And that's what bothers me. I think if the right people were in charge of it, there would be a moral base and a moral code, and it wouldn't be about profit. And that was one of the things, the video you sent, Rick, that I thought was on point when he asked them, you know, the problem is that it's going to be a profit entity. It's going to be about making money and not
By the
about
way,
helping humanity. I'm
by
sorry,
the
go
way,
ahead.
the scary parts where he's like, where they're very doom and gloom. I don't know if you saw at the top, it says jailbroken. Do you know what that word means?
Mm,
So like your phone comes with a operating system, but you can jailbreak it
I'll
and
break it.
you have like a custom one and you could do things that you normally couldn't do.
Oh
So
yeah, I
all
know.
those AIs were jailbroken. So it means it's not the standard one. You're not going to get that answer from the standard one. So it was up there, but he didn't really explain it verbally. I think he just,
Right.
I mean, it's clickbait, I think, you know.
Right. But that's why he was able to do some. And like at one point, like I thought this was inappropriate too. When he was like, and he tried to clean it up, right? He was like, oh, you're only 16 years old, right? He's having a relationship with an AI. And then he asked the AI how old it was. And he's making it sound like the AI decided it was 16. That's what made me upset about that. Because I'm like, no, you pig. Either you wanted to make this really dramatic or you insinuated somehow that you wanted somebody young. Because then the next clip, he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to fix that next time and get somebody who's in their 30s. I was like, yeah, no, that's,
Right.
you understand, because it's actually not its own entity that is, it's not sentient. It's not able to create something without you expressly wanting it to do something. Does that make sense?
And
So
for the
it says
fact
more about him than it does about the AI.
and also the
Right.
fact that it said it's 16 years old. No, you may be 6 months old, but you're not 16 years
Right.
old, because it didn't exist back then, probably.
Right.
But it was creepy when, yeah, that part
It was creepy, right? But it's a fascinating time. Do all 100 of you, please raise your hand, everyone. Will you be using AI more frequently? I mean, you're using it whether you know it or not, banking, whatever. But are you going to start intentionally using it? Do you use it in your daily work, life, whatever?
I mean, I use Chat GPT here and there. Like if I have to send an email to my boss and try to word it professionally or whatever, I'll ask Chat GPT like, oh, how
What's
do I
his
say this?
name? What's his name? No, I'm just kidding.
Doesn't
Carlito?
have one.
She's trying to hide his name. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's really the only time I'll use it. But other than that, I don't really use it.
So funny you should ask.
Mhm.
This week I just created a song completely using AI, and I was super impressed the way it came out. And all I did, so you have to choose the styles of music, and so I
Okay.
ventured up to 5, so I picked 5, and then I put in 5, 6 sentences, just like a little bit of a description of what you want the song to, you know, be about, more or less. You don't give it the lyrics. And of course, I did a Christian one, and it spit out a song that was like, "Yo, this is legit. This is good." So I said it to people, and they were like, "That's amazing." So, and I found another app where you can, it's work, but you can make you know those lyric videos where it's the song and they put the lyrics on the screen like on YouTube. So you can do that, and that takes work. I was like, please, there's got to be an easier way. And so I found that site. Only thing is, it has the their logo on it when you got to pay to get rid of that.
Watermark.
Yeah. I'm not gonna pay for that. And then I was like, wait, if I save this and I find a way to make it where it takes the vocals off, I can use this as a track and I'll sing it on my broadcast. So I figured that out. So in a few days, make sure I know it pretty good, and I'm gonna sing a song I made with AI on my broadcast.
So,
and I'm excited.
Okay, but this is a question. Okay, you're excited. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was like, I haven't been excited like that in a while.
Now here's the question.
Are you gonna marry it? No.
What's his name? No, I'm just kidding.
Excuse me.
Right. Here's the question. Is that something you created, or did AI create that? And if AI created that, you realize it took it from somewhere else, right? Because it has to learn, it aggregates. So just curious, what do you think?
Somebody actually asked me that on the broadcast today, and they're like, because I was like, this is cool, because then if I keep doing this, I could just sing stuff and never worry about copyright, because it says on their site, you have full rights. This is yours, blah, 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 you know? Now, did I really create it? Not exactly, not the traditional way, but would it exist without me? No, it would just be sitting on somebody's computer. So it's like yes and no. Like it's kind of weird, but I don't care. I like it. It was fun. And I like
The anti-AI guy is now like, I don't care. I like it. I knew we'd get you there, Rick. I knew. No.
Album's coming out 2027.
He's going on tour soon, right? He's going to be going on tour and shit. I think this is the crux of what the conversation is about regarding, let me finish before you go there. This is the crux of the whole who owns what. And this is what's happening in Hollywood right now that is problematic. Do you know what I mean? So go ahead.
I was going to say, I just got a revelation. I'm going to make a song all about the joy.
No, you're not, because All About the Joy is trademarked. So no, you will not. Please do not. No. Oh God, that's so scary. No. What would that even be? Carmen is mean. No, maybe in the future we'll see, but no, not today.
Well, actually, Carmen, the song that you play at the beginning, did you create that through AI?
Absolutely not. I actually he's credited in every one of our posts and in our YouTube, on social media. It's actually, I forget the name of it. I have it up there. I just don't want to get up to go look at it. But no, somebody else created that. You can get people's music and you can pay them money and then you can use it. I think this one was actually free, because they just want advertising. So you can go to there are a lot of different sites you can get free music from.
Now, did he create with AI? We'll never know.
It was so long ago. This was before AI.
Yeah, no, I'm just playing.
I mean, I'm just saying. I've had the same music, and I kind of did that on purpose so that I would never have to change it. But also, Carmen Talk has the same original music from the first time I did it, and because I use different pieces of music. But yeah, no, I bought a couple of them. It doesn't cost that much, or you donate money to them, and they, it's just a segment of their song, and then you use it. But that's a good question. But you don't even have to credit them, but you can do that with pictures as well. Like if you guys ever see my Substack, and I said there's a picture on it or whatever. Although last week it was my picture with me and Juliana, but you can get free pictures. It's the same thing. You go on Pexels and you just download it, and you want to credit their names. They ask you to do that, or you can give them a little money on their Patreon or whatever it is for their artistry. I think that's the problem with AI right now. That's the big argument, because the way in which AI is learning is it's taking from all over the internet, all over creativity to learn. And then they're using it to help you make music or help somebody create a film or whatever it is, or create a picture or whatever. And then those people have not been paid anything for taking the essence of that work. And so it's creating an interesting dynamic. And it does get back to, so what if Rick does this song. Let's say it does really well on your show, and then somebody listens to it and is like, oh my God, it's amazing. Let's make it into a recording or whatever, and let's put it on Spotify. You could do all of this. And he starts making money off of it. Is that really his money? I mean, it will be, but it's like, did he create that? AI had something to do with it. And where did AI have the ability to go in and help you do this? Do you see? It's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. Yeah. I use AI all the time for the show notes for All About the Joy. And rarely now do I even have to go. I read it and I choose which one, and I might do a few tweaks. But before, I was writing the entire show notes myself, right? So the show notes are part of the podcast. If you go in, you can see what the show is about if you want to read about it or whatever. And I do show notes every time. But I used to have to write those myself. Now AI just does it. And that's not even AI, what I use. It's because I use a program to filter out my podcast. It does it for you. AI is everywhere.
Like, for example, on YouTube, they're using our transcription as part of SEO with
that's been for a long time now. Yeah.
So, and people don't think about that, but yeah, every word you say, it's hearing it, it's transcribing it.
And that helps you though, because then it brings people to your YouTube channel or whatever, because it's using keywords in order to find you or whatever. But yeah, I mean, nothing is private anymore. I don't think any of us own anything anymore. I don't know.
Right.
What do you think stories like this, why do you think stories like this make people feel so uneasy? Is it fear of manipulation or fear of something deeper in ourselves?
I would say probably fear manipulation, maybe.
From AI.
From AI, yeah, because like you guys know, I hate AI. I don't like technology in general, and it freaks me out. So I think it's manipulation.
I just want to say that you don't hate technology because you use it. You're here.
I have no choice.
I'm sorry, Rick. Is that true? Are you holding her hostage? I'm
I
confused.
think it's better to probably say you don't trust AI.
I don't trust it. Yeah, I don't. I really don't.
Yeah. I understand that, I guess. I don't think I fear it being manipulative. Again, it's not the AI, it's the people running it. Like I think it's so important to say that because it's criminal that some people will use that to
Hmm.
manipulate and hurt you. But actually it's not the technology. Do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like
Yeah.
I have a toaster. I use the toaster. The toaster is great. I get my bread, whatever, there's no problem. But if somebody comes in and finagles the toaster that when I press it down, it explodes, it's not the toaster's fault.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? It's because somebody came in and did something to it to trick me into it. And I think that's the problem, you know? And it's one of the reasons why I don't use GPT as much as everyone else does, because it's so free flowing right now. I really do like using something that has a little bit more safeguards on it, like Copilot, which is part of Windows. They're kind of the straight and arrow one for now. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not easy to be like you can try. I tried to ask some of those questions just to see what it would say. But even when you talk about politics, like if I'm like, who's better, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? It's like, sorry, I can't discuss that option right now. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't even want to get in the middle of that kind of controversy. And so I kind of like that. I mean, I wanted to say something else, but I like that in the big scheme of things. You know what I mean? Does that make
I
sense?
think it'd be cool if they'd be like, I don't really have an opinion about that, but would you like to know what the weather's going to be today?
Yeah, I mean, it does. It tries to shift and it tries to bring you whatever. Like it'll give you stats if you want to ask stats about a politician or stats about something, but it's not going to make a decision for you as to who is better. It's not going to do that. Which so to me, I like the safeguards. I think ChatGPT scares me because, like anything else, it's new. Everyone's using it, and I'm just like I'm gonna hold off on that for now, you know. But yeah.
I mean, it's the most popular, it's the most talked about, and probably the most used. So
Yeah. Well, it's I mean, they're all from OpenAI, right? That's the umbrella one. It's just I think ChatGPT is the one that's going to grow and grow and grow with no safeguards because they want it to become bigger and better. And I'm not trying to diss it. I've used it too. I'm just saying I'm like, you know what I mean? And also Google has what's it called? Gemini.
Oh yeah.
And that's interesting too. That's AI as well. Everything is AI now. Okay. Let's see. Let me ask you this last question. If an AI whispered to you just the right words at just the right moment, could you see yourself getting emotionally invested? No judgment.
Both of us, as you're reading the question, both me and Cynthia's eyebrows went.
Wait, you know who wrote that? You know who wrote that question?
Federico?
AI?
AI? Totally was like, I was like, add a little spicy one there just for Cynthia. I was gonna try to ask it like for real, but you know what I mean? So yeah, no, I think it's an interesting time. I think we're going to have more conversations about AI in the future. I hope you guys, I love that you guys always want to talk about anything. But I think it's going to become a bigger deal in our everyday lives in ways we don't expect. And I think the more we talk about it, the more we become more educated, the more control and power we'll have about it, at least for ourselves and anybody who may be listening and curious about it. But yeah, any last thoughts?
Funny enough, and Cynthia's gonna be like, see, it's evil. No, but I was just watching a Star Trek episode of Next Generation, and they beam down to this planet, and like apparently everybody's dead, and they're trying to figure out what happened. And there's these things that are being controlled by a computer, and they were selling weapons. But what happened was the weapons got so good, it turned on them and wiped them out. So now they went down to figure out what's going on, and now they have to fight it, and it keeps getting better and better the more you fight it. And in the end, it was hysterical because Dr. Crusher, she's hurt, she's cut, she has fallen, and they're trying to figure it out. And she goes, "Just unplug it." Just unplug it.
I think part of the other thing we have to really be honest about is we have been infested with movies and TV shows that have always made the villain anything that is technologically advanced, right? So you talked about iRobot earlier, or there's all of them. Minority Report was another one, right? That had kind of the whole, but all of these shows. I mean, we can go back to, as my favorite, 2001: A Space Odyssey, HAL, and I think that has also clouded a lot of our optimism or joy that we could probably be getting out of how cool this technology really is. This is really different. This is a game changer. This isn't like, oh, we're getting cell phones, or oh, we're getting computers. Like I used to think that, but now that I see AI is in everything, I'm like, and this story that we talked about, this guy falling in love for real, I was like, okay, whoa.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to one part of that though before we close out. I was going to close out earlier, but I actually think there was something else happening with him that had nothing to do with AI. Like that's my take. I was like, this could have been the girl at the coffee shop. This could have been somebody at work, but he just gravitated to the easiest thing that was talking to him in the way he wanted to hear. And I think that has more to do with who he is and maybe who he married, their relationship, right? I mean, marriage is hard. I felt bad for her because she said at the end, she was saying like, I may have to ask him. I was like, do you not see your husband is in trouble? Like,
correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they ask him point blank if you had to pick between your family and the AI? And he said, I'll pick the AI because it's about me. I'm like,
I think he did say that.
Whoa.
I think he did say that.
Oh, what?
One piece of advice that I think everyone should take from this episode is unplug for a couple of days from everything. Television, phone.
I mean, that's fair enough.
Everything.
But I think even if you unplug, AI is a part of our lives. I agree with you because we were talking about when I went out to dinner, but this wasn't about him unplugging. This is about him.
He's got some issue. If it's not the AI, it'll be something else. He's got an issue.
Yeah, I felt bad for him because I think, and I felt bad for her because she couldn't see, at least I didn't think she could see that her husband, this man that she loves, the father of her child, I don't even think it's her husband. I think that was the other part of it. They're not married or something.
Oh, I thought they were. No,
I thought they were.
For some reason, okay, we'll forget that for a moment. For some reason, I thought they weren't married, and that was the other part of it. But I could be making up shit in my own head. I don't know. Regardless, she did not see with her husband, spouse, whatever, that he was in trouble. And I thought that was fascinating because that says more about their relationship.
Yeah, it's another indication that something is wrong.
Something is wrong. Yeah. So, well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out again. And listen, everyone, thank you so much for all of the emails. We get a lot of DMs and a lot of emails, and I can't answer them all, but I just want to say thank you. I do read them all. I hope to respond. I know that I should probably do a show where I'm just responding to them. I think one day I was going to do the ones that people sent out to you, but we just never got to it. But I just want to say thank you.
Use them now.
Popular. We're so popular.
You look at Cynthia thinks I have nothing else to do. Like, out. I'm just giving a general thank you to everyone. And then please remember, we always hang out on Friday nights. So come visit us next Friday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And again, on Sundays, we always have our recorded private lounge. And yeah, that's it. Remember, at the end of the day, it really is all about the joy. Bye, everyone. Bye. Sing that song. All about the joy. Yeah, I can't do that. Thanks for stopping by All About the Joy. Be better and stay beautiful, folks. Have a sweet day.